welcome to the Fab Flashy Show where elegance meets empowerment. I'm your host, Bree Wilson, and if you're a woman who's 35 plus, this is your show because we will discuss so much that you can relate to. And be sure to come back soon because each week we drop a brand new episode. Today's guest is living proof that age is not a limit, it's a level. At 73 years young, Renee is a professional bodybuilder, fitness model, and an inspiration to women everywhere who are ready to live boldly, beautifully, and powerfully at every stage of life. Renee, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bree, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And I am just excited to be here. And I love the name of this show, Fab and Flashy. I feel like that's what we all should be after as we're aging.
Yes, it's a play on word. Be fabulous, and you might be dealing with hot flashes in this stage of life, but be fabulous anyway.
Absolutely.
So Renee, what inspired you to start your fitness journey, and at what age did it truly begin for you?
Well, Bree, I was always into fitness, really. In my 20s and 30s, I was into it, but not extremely. I mean, I did what everybody did back in those days, lots of aerobics. This is when
Aerobics.
Jane Fonda was,
Jane
the
Fonda.
original Jane Fonda back in the day.
Yes.
And so I knew that fitness was important. It was important to me because I wanted to feel good, and I knew what a difference exercise made to me. But I
Absolutely.
wasn't really serious about it until time went by. And as I got older, I realized more how important it was. But here's the thing. I had some challenges with my back over the years, over about a 25-year span. And I just kind of ignored it. But every year it got worse. When I was in my 30s, I was a runner and I ran for several years, but it got to where, it was harder to run. Then I got pregnant. After I had my son, I started running again and I got up to about 2 miles. And then I had this excruciating back pain. And
Mm.
finally, I found out that running was not going to be part of my future anymore because I had such
Mm.
extreme problems with my back. And the doctor said, no more of that. So I just kind of struggled along for many years, uh,
Mhm.
doing what I could. Um, and I knew how important it was. There was a time when it was even hard for me to walk. And I was a self employed single mom, and I was worried about how I'm going to take care of my son if I
Mhm.
can't even walk to do my work. And my work
Right.
was pretty physical. And so I was really afraid. I got to a point where I even thought I was going to be in a wheelchair. And I started trying to figure out crafts that I could do sitting, just crazy stuff like that. It was a scary
Right.
time. But anyway, I kept, trudging on. And finally, at 58, I ended up having a lower lumbar fusion. So my
Mhm.
L1 and S5 were fused. And that was long after trying everything else. And, but I just had to get some quality of life. I couldn't dance anymore. I was scared to go anywhere because I was afraid,
Right.
that I wasn't going to make it. And so I had that surgery at 58. And actually, it was just amazing because I was so scared. Nobody wants to have back surgery,
Mhm.
but I ended up having the surgery, and the doctor, the neurosurgeon, said the only thing I don't want you to do is run or do yoga because he felt like that would be jeopardizing the fusion. So
Wow.
he said, do whatever you want, get your rehab, do whatever you want. So I was approaching 60 then. I got my rehab done, and I'm going, oh my God, I'm going to be 60 soon. And that's like
Yeah.
eye opening, right? And my back was doing okay. So I just decided to get serious about it. I mean, this was it. There's no, this is 60 coming up here.
Right.
This is not playing around.
Right.
And I was having hot flashes and all the stuff that you have in your menopausal years. And
Right.
so what I did first is I went to a doctor, and he prescribed hormone replacement therapy for me when I was about 60. And at the same time, he said, Renee, you also need to get your fitness, all figured out. And he
Yeah.
actually introduced me to a trainer. I mean, it just so happened that this doctor
Okay.
introduced me to a trainer who ended up being wonderful. This guy actually trained athletes with injuries, and he has his master's in kinesiology. And that was really the beginning when I was about 60 years old, where I got totally serious about my fitness. That was it. It was just like amazing. And I'm just so grateful because some women don't have that epiphany, or they don't have
No.
something that happens, they just, and we all do it. We go around feeling bad and just living with
Yeah.
it because that's what we think we're supposed
Dealing
to
with
do.
it. Did you ever imagine you'd be competing in bodybuilding and modeling professionally in your 70s?
No, not at all, Brie. That was never even a thought in my mind. Hey, I'm only 5 foot tall. There's no way I'd ever think I was going to be modeling anything. But,
Right.
um, but Dustin, my trainer, he is just such a wonderful person. He kept encouraging me as time went on with and at that time when I started, when I was about 60, I was about 20 pounds heavier than I am right now. I could have been a little taller than I am right now. But nevertheless, he encouraged me. He was not a heavy, high pressure kind of guy, but as years went by and we were working out at this small gym that's not too far away, and seeing the same people and doing the same exercises, and I was actually getting kind of bored after a few years. And I said, Dustin, what can we do differently? I'm too short to play basketball. I don't really want to play softball. I mean, I've played some of those sports over the years.
Right.
And but he said, Renee, I can see you on stage. And I'm going, well, what are you talking about? And he said,
Yeah.
doing bodybuilding competitions. And I'm going, well, I don't know exactly what that is. I'm going to look into it. And then I did my research and I said, there is no way I can be putting on a sparkly bikini and getting on stage in front of a bunch of strangers in my mid 60s. That just,
Right.
I cannot imagine. Honestly, that was just never, it was never a thought. Um,
Wow.
but he's so wonderful. He just kept encouraging me. He never put a bunch of pressure, but every year when we talk about goals and all that, he would say, you could do this, Renee. And he's trained other people to do it. And he
Yeah.
thought that I had some potential. So anyway, so we did that for years. Nothing changed. I kept saying no. Well,
Yeah.
finally, when I got to be about 65, 66, I went on this vacation with some girlfriends, and I
Mhm.
came back home and I saw my pictures of myself in Germany and all these places. And I saw a woman who looked, healthy, but I looked like this round looking fit woman. I just thought, I've been working out all these years and I don't see a big change.
Yeah.
I was stronger. But anyway, I said, there's a better Renee in there. That's really kind of how I felt about it. I can
Okay.
do better. I mean, I've been lifting weights. I kind of watch what I eat, but I wasn't really serious about it. I ate
Right.
healthy, but just too much of things. So anyway, I told
Right.
Dustin after getting back from that vacation, I said, okay, look, um, I want to lose some weight here. I feel like that can make a difference in my life. So I set a goal to lose 1 pound, just 1 pound. And I said, Dustin, let's give me some workouts to do. And I tuned up my diet. That's the other thing. My
Got it.
nutrition changed. Okay. And this is where things start happening, whenever you start making lots of changes. So I did some
Yeah.
extra, a little bit heavier weights. I tuned up my nutrition. I set that goal to lose 1 pound and I lost 1 pound. And then I did it again. I set a goal to lose 1 pound. I kept working out. I lost 1 pound. And over 4.5 months, I lost 10 pounds, Bree, just doing that.
Wow.
10 pounds. And that's
Wow.
whenever things changed. Okay, people at the gym, well, what's Renee doing? Well, I said
Yeah.
it's not rocket science. It's really kind of math and science. It's
Yes.
calories in, calories out, burning it, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so after that happened, and I'm like 67 or so, 68. And I'm still saying no to the competitions. No, I can't do that.
So,
But but I knew one thing I found out about myself is I didn't have to just settle. Like I did think, well, whenever you get in your mid 60s, you're just going to look a certain way. It's just you
right.
just have to accept it, right? It's just the way it is. It's not that I looked terrible, but
Right.
I just felt like I guess this is it. But what I found out is that is wrong. And so
That's wrong.
anyone can transform and anyone can change,
Yes.
and you just have to do a few things. So when I was 69, it was like in May, I said, okay, Dustin, I'm going to compete before I turn 70. I told him I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And I
You
was
made a
scared.
goal.
Yeah, I had a goal and I was scared, but I'd already lost that weight and my muscles were showing more. And
Yeah.
so I was feeling a little more confident. And he kept encouraging me. And so that's what I did. Like August, the first weekend in August, uh, in 2021, I competed in my first bodybuilding show at the Lee Labrada Classic, which is, about an hour out of Houston. And it's a wonderful show. And I was competing with women in their 50s, and 55, I think, was the oldest age. And so there
Mm,
wasn't an older category. So I had to compete with women 20 years younger than me on stage. But I
wow.
had a fantastic time. I got up on that stage and I was scared, but I did it scared. You have to do it anyway. You acknowledge
Work
you're scared.
past it.
You just do it anyway. And I ended up winning a trophy for it. Now, this was sixth place in Bikini Open, which
You were
means
still a winner.
I was a winner, and I visualized this winning a trophy. I visualized receiving a trophy during my prep. And
Okay.
honestly, it was sixth place, but I was compete. That was with women of all ages, and
Yeah.
I'll take that trophy. I'll take it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it really that was really the beginning of me falling in love with the fitness journey, the bodybuilding community. They're very supportive. They're from all walks of life, and that was really life changing for me because I didn't know what I was going to think about it, but it turned out to be a positive thing. And I have competed in 14 shows since that show, which was almost 4 years ago. So I've been living my best life and really enjoying it. And I've met so many new people. So it's been
Yes.
a positive thing.
Yes, we met through this journey as well. I saw you online. I said, "Oh my goodness," because I started competing at the age of 42, and I just became a pro this year at the age of 49. I'll be 50 this year.
Awesome.
And I've always said,
Congratulations.
"Thank you." I've always said, "Well, maybe I could see doing this another 10 years." And now that I see you, I'm like, maybe I need to make some readjustments because maybe I can do a little longer. You inspire me. But we
You
met at
can.
the Angel Fashion Show, and
Okay.
I love being there at the master show because there were older women there. I'm here. I'm almost 50, and we're out here. We're athletic. We're in swimsuits, and it's inspiring. It's powerful. The women that I've run across in this journey. I mean, I've met breast cancer survivors. I've met women amputees. And a woman that's 73, and I've been telling people, oh yeah, she's gonna be on my show. 73, she's a right. What? They're so surprised. So I know initially you were saying that you were reluctant about the bodybuilding. You kept telling Dustin, oh no, I'm not gonna do it. So how has your body, and your mindset evolved as you continue to lift and compete?
It's a lifestyle, and once you get into this lifestyle of eating the right foods and going to the gym, doing your routine, it's just second nature to me. I don't say, oh, I've got to go to the gym and work out. It's like I'm going to the gym. it's
Right.
it's I don't even have to think about it. If I don't go, then it's like I need to get to the gym. I want to get to the gym. So that's the first thing that I've noticed. What about you? Have you noticed that too?
I have, like, when I'm planning things, I plan things around the gym. Okay, I can't do it at this time because I'm at the gym, or I'm going to spend this time meal prepping. That's just what it is.
Hmm.
And it's more important now because, like, you were going back to the aerobics and things like that. I noticed when I was younger, I could go walking on my lunch break and do some aerobics, and I got my body to where I want it to be. But as our bodies change, we have to do things differently to see results for sure.
That is for sure. I remember those days when losing five
Yeah.
pounds was, like in the blink of an
Just like
eye.
that.
Just
Yes.
it was gone. And
Yes.
those days are long gone now,
Those
right?
days are long gone. So what would you say are a few misconceptions people have about aging and fitness that you just love proving wrong?
You shouldn't put any limits on it. I guess that's, like, you're around 50ish. I mean, when I hear this all the time, oh, well, I'm 50, whatever. Well, when you get to be 70 something, then we'll talk because 50
Right.
is nothing. You have so many years left. Just forget about
Yes.
that. That's how I feel. First of all, people have the misconception that, you're over the hill, whenever you get in your 40s and
Right.
50s, 60s and 70. Oh my God, you're ancient. I mean, my mother was almost 100 when she passed away. So
Wow, that's a
so that's
blessing.
the first misconception. And this thing about fitness, well, uh, the whole thing is if you start working out and lifting weights, specifically lifting weights with progressive
Yeah.
overload, you are going to be strong by the time you get my age. So like you're already
Yes,
doing
you
it.
will.
I was kind of into fitness, but the lifting didn't really start till 60ish. And
Wow.
and so if I can do this at this late in life, then what are people going to be doing if they start earlier? So
They
you're
start
just
early.
always going to be ahead of the game. So that is just such a misconception. And this thing, I have this little motto: no old speak. Like, I don't talk old. I don't talk about my aches and pains. Yes, I know I have them, and I know I'm going to die. There's no doubt that's happening.
Right.
It's in my future. It's okay. But
Yeah.
I don't have to go down that path. And I don't hang around with people who want to whine about their aches and pains. We all have them. And really, no one really
Yes.
wants to hear about it. So
Right.
that mindset is the other thing, not thinking like an old person.
Yes.
If you think like a young person, I mean, like I said, I know I'm aging. Hey, man, I'm not 30. I know this.
Right.
Um, but I just like the way you walk, how you carry yourself. You don't, just drag your feet. You walk with a pep in your step, and I just don't think like an old lady at all. And when I hear people, my friends talking about, oh, well, I'm getting old, it's like I'm allergic to it or something. It's like
Yeah.
I just they
I
I
love
just
it.
I smile and I just tune them out.
So how do you manage that? Do you still have to do physical therapy? Like, how do you manage your condition with your
Well,
lifestyle?
that's a good question. And yours being up in your cervical spine is different, but I totally get it because one thing it's hard for me to do is to do the pose, because you got to twist and do this, and I have
Right.
very little mobility in my lower back because this is like
Okay.
the L1 and S5, the lowest
Fusion.
ones. Yeah, and
Mhm.
so I the biggest thing is because I have this awesome trainer too. I don't do any exercises that are going to compromise that fusion. Just like
Okay.
you're working
Me
or you
too.
do some workarounds, like I'll never
Right.
do crunches. I'm never going to do
Right.
heavy squats,
Right.
no hip thrusts ever, some of that stuff is
Mhm.
not, there's ways to work around all that. And you
Right.
know it
I
too.
implement machines and things like that. There's certain
Right.
things I just can't do.
Exactly. And you just accept it and you do something else instead. And that's kind of like on my page, on my Instagram and YouTube, I have put exercises that I do that are safe. Of course, I'm not a doctor, trainer, any of that. I tell
Right.
people that all the time, but I do
Right.
certain ones that are safe for me, and I'm very mindful of the way I do them, and I'm still able to manage this, and I'm doing okay. And so that can't be an excuse. Now, there are people with just unbelievable fusions that have rods everywhere, and I
Yes.
sympathize with them, but we can
Right.
always do something,
Something.
to something, even like what do you call, isometrics, like well,
Right.
vacuums, that's good for your stomach without having to do
Yes.
crunches. So there are
Right.
workarounds, and it's just a matter of how determined you are to be fit, to be the
Mhm.
best fit you can be for however old you are.
There's so many options these days. You don't even have to go to a gym anymore. There's YouTube. And I actually teach a weekly class in the community. It's a chair fitness class. And I design my class for people that are over the age of 50. I have ladies in there that are close to 70. And some of them may have limited mobility. Some of them may have had surgery. But yeah, there's always an option for everyone. Have you faced moments or doubt or criticism because of your age? And how did you pass through that?
You don't see a lot of 70 plus women on Instagram in bikinis with competition bikinis, sparkly bikinis on. So automatically there's people out there who are going to have something to say about that. That's just the beginning of that. But as I've gotten older, I care less and less about what people think. And this is like an evolution. And I think we all get there, or at least I know I have. That's just not something that I worry about. Now, once in a while, when they, want to say stuff on Instagram, and I'll say something to a few of them. I don't spend a lot of time doing it. They're usually
No,
trolls with, no followers, and they've got
no
a,
photo.
yeah, there's a mushroom or
They
something
never
in there.
have a picture.
That's never a picture, and they always have, some of them have something to say. And once in a while, I'll just tell them like it is, and most of the
Yeah.
time I'll just delete it, whatever.
Yeah.
But I can get a little feisty at times, but I also do that not just because I'm not getting my feelings hurt, but I also want people to know it's okay to take up for yourself. And
It
that's the
is.
other thing, women in particular, we have been sort of beaten down over the years about that. Women, of color, everybody, lots of women,
Right.
all kinds of women have been sort of put down. And so sometimes you have to take up for yourself. And I think that's important to have some boundaries. So once in a while, I'll just do something and say something back to one of these people just to let people know, hey, I can stand up for myself. In fact,
Yes.
today I put something on Instagram. Somebody was trashing one of the women that I follow about,
Oh,
oh, you're not even sweating, and what, your hair's down, you got your makeup on. And so I just kind of told it like it was, because
yeah.
we all have our own way of doing things, and we
Right.
have to respect others. We don't have to, but I don't care how you want to work out, but I like to work out with a little makeup on, looking my
Yeah.
best, because that's just who I am.
That's
So
your preference, and
that's
that's
right.
okay.
It is
Yeah.
totally okay.
Have you ever heard the term women become invisible after a certain age? And what do you say to that?
I remember a moment when I felt invisible. I still remember it. And I don't know how old I was. I was probably, in my 40s to 50s. And I still remember I was in a restaurant, and I just remember, I don't know what it was, but there was something I just felt like I was not seeing. I was just like blending in with the wallpaper or something. I just remember that moment. And what I would say about that is we're as invisible as we let ourselves be, because that's really what it's all about. And I have a friend who complains a lot because people don't remember her name whenever they meet her or something like that, and she's annoyed by that. But I say, you need to make an impression if you want to be remembered. And that's what it's really all about this not being invisible. You have to make an impression. Now, why do you want to make an impression? Well, I have a lot of life left to live, and I'm not going to just sit back and be missed when I know that I can contribute to the world and to whatever it is that I'm contributing to. So I think we have to go out of our way sometimes to not be invisible. And that's part of living fab and, flashy. You have to
Yes.
put yourself out there. And so I think that's a lot of how you keep from being invisible. And I say there's a lot to the power of yes, saying yes to more things. It's
Yeah.
easy to say no. And I know the power of no, boundaries. But as we age, we often sort of get complacent, and we get used to our homes and not doing anything. And so it's easy to just say, no, I don't think I want to do that. Well, if I'd have said, no, I don't want to do that to Dustin for that one competition, I would have missed out on a big part of my life.
For
And
sure.
and another one that I did that I said yes to um was walking in an angel competition bikini fashion show. How about
Yes.
that? You can relate to that.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
my next big thing. Within 6 months of me competing, is whenever I heard about the Angels, and they emailed me, and I said, well, I'll just fill this out. Sure, I'll fill it out. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm too old. They're not going to pick me. And then, of course, they said yes. And I said, did you see how old I? Yes, it's okay. We want you to come walk. And I did, and that was,
I love it.
so much fun. And so that was another thing, Bree. That was another huge thing. Saying yes.
Some women still, wrestle with that, with feeling, okay, I'm too old. What advice can you give to a woman who's in her 40s, 50s, or 60s who feels it's too late to start?
Well, I guess I would have to say, look at me, and as I'm here, I see more women my age out there doing this. Just since I started 4 years ago, I see lots more women. So, I
Yeah,
mean, the reason I think women in their 40s and 50s are doing it, you're going through a lot of other things in your life.
that's
You might be premenopause, you're in menopause. That right there is tough. Uh,
it.
so I feel like that has something to do with it. I remember when I was going through menopause, I actually thought I had early onset Alzheimer's because my memory was so bad. I
Brain
went to,
fog.
yeah, I went to a neurologist. I did.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember how to drive home 2 miles from where I lived. It was scary. So y'all are going through a lot of that too. And so you need to think past that. Go get your hormones checked. There
Mhm.
are ways, whether you decide to do hormone replacement therapy or whatever. This is about taking care of yourself when you're in your 40s and
Yes.
50s. That's really what a lot of this is, Bree. So women need to remember that you are so worth it. You're worthy of it. You deserve it. You've been taking care of the world. Now you got to take care of you. And there's plenty of good years left. I mean,
Absolutely.
things. things didn't really start happening big for me, until I was in my
Yeah.
60s. So
60s.
yeah,
That's even
so
more amazing. The fact that
it's
you
crazy.
probably, when people see you, they probably think, "Oh, she's been doing that since she was in her 20s or 30s." No, ma'am.
That's right. No, no, that's right. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
compete till I was 69, not 59, 69. And
69.
and then and now Angel, they sponsored me, who's getting sponsored at 70 something years old. And so
Yes.
many things. Oh, and then I competed in GBO, the Global Bodybuilding Organization, and I got
I
my
heard
pro
that.
card. I got my pro card in GBO.
Self-care is key. A lot of times as women, we put ourselves on the back burner. And it's okay to make yourself a priority. Definitely.
Yes, it is. It's not selfish. It's self-care. It's self-love. And if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of others. And that's a big thing. The caregiver thing, as we were talking earlier about, um, some of the statistics that I remember when I was caregiving for my mother was like 60% of caregivers end up in the hospital or are dead from not taking care of themselves when they're a caregiver.
So, Renee, what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming goals or competitions on the horizon?
I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling the next year, which I love to travel. I
I
did
see.
eight
I
cruises.
see.
Oh my God, I did 8 cruises this year. I'm going on
Wow.
the Angel cruise in January,
Okay.
but I'm going to be traveling to Bali and Thailand to go to a friend's
Okay.
wedding, a friend I met through the bodybuilding
With the
organization.
bodybuilding
Uh
organization.
huh.
Nice.
And I'll be walking in some more angel shows, but another thing
Okay.
and I'll be competing probably later on in the year, but I'll be
Okay.
doing several angel shows. But another thing I'm adding to my repertoire, which is something different for me, I haven't even announced it, is I'm a delegate for a Miss Classic Universe pageant. So I'm gonna do a
Wow.
pageant, and
Oh,
I know I've
wow.
never done that before. And and they invited me a year or two ago, and going, I don't know about being a pageant girl. I don't know anything about that. And why do I want to do it? Well, so I just decided, okay, I do want to do it because
Good.
it's another platform for me to spread the word to women
Another
that
platform.
it's never too late to get fit, take care. I mean, so that's what I'm going to be doing it for. So that's happening in 2026. It's kind of already
Okay.
started happening, and the
Okay.
competition's going to be in July at the Orleans Hotel in Las Vegas. So whatever.
Wow.
I'm not even worried about winning. It's just I'm going to be a part of something new. I'm saying yes to more things,
Saying
and
yes to more things.
that's right. And this is one of my new things to say yes to, and
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. And I'm meeting more new friends, through the process, and I'm going to learn what it's all about. But it's really about spreading the word. I mean, and that's thank you so much for inviting me to talk,
You're
because
so
it's
welcome.
really about spreading the word that it's never too late.
So if anyone wants to follow your journey or contact you, how can they do that?
The most prevalent way, I'm on Instagram. That's
Mhm.
where you're going to communicate with me.
Okay.
I'm out on some other ones, but it's the same name. It's Renee Fit at 70,
Okay.
ReneeFitat 70. Now,
Okay.
Renee Fit at 70, also YouTube. I have a YouTube channel that I'm developing.
Mhm.
I post a lot of exercises and nutrition stuff on both places. And
Nice.
and I'm on Facebook too, and I'm on TikTok. I'm not on there all the
Okay.
time, but I'd say
Okay.
Instagram is the best. And
Instagram the best.
yeah, it is the best.
Okay.
And you can message me and leave me a message. Unless you're like a pervert, I'm going to be answering you. So just know I try hard to answer people. And people ask a lot, well, how do you begin? Well, that's a good question. And I don't know
Yeah.
the answer to that, but I would say start by looking at what's on. There's a lot of free stuff out there. YouTube
A
has tons of
lot.
free stuff.
Tons.
Absolutely. In fact, I learned how to pose more from YouTube than I did from the posing coach that I hired the very first show that I did. So
Wow.
so yes, so I'd say YouTube is a good resource, but message me, and I'm really just here to kind of encourage people.
Okay.
Like, I'm not selling any big fitness program or anything like that.
Well, Renee, thank you so much for showing the world that age is power, it's not limitation. You're redefining what it means to be fit, fabulous, and fearless at every stage of life. So, to everyone else, be blessed, be empowered,